So this video is about magnetic implants and the consequences of getting them. There's all kinds of subjective material in this video. Believe what you want to. I'm presenting everything as factual and as realistically as I possibly can. I'm basing this on my experience, and it's subjective. It's one-sided. Other people have similar experiences. Other people have the same experiences. Some people don't have any of them. So it all depends on you. If you choose to believe, true believers, have fun. You just met next man. Well, we're discussing magnetic implants, and it's important to acknowledge what an implant actually is. So here we go. There's two different types that I know of. I've got one type in my left hand and then one type in my right hand. I have 7 in my left hand and I have 4 in my right hand, 5 in my arm. And there's one type and then there's type 2. Type 1 is the Stephen Hayworth magnet. It is a neodymium magnet coated in gold and then coated in biosilicone. Which means it's safe to put inside the human body. And the way they do that is they actually encapsulate it by pressure injecting the silicone into a mold. They used to dip them. They were having problems with inconsistencies, and this injection molding seems to work much better for these. And I haven't had any problems yet, so knock on wood. If these were to rupture, before I got them done, I got to play with an implant. I asked the guy, Reverend Decay, if I could actually rupture it and see how strong these were. So I squeezed it and I squeezed it. I managed to get the magnet out. I was pretty happy with it. I don't think they're going to rupture inside my hand. The rubber itself is about as hard as a rubber tire for thickness and consistency. So you can get an idea of how tough it is. You can set your fingertip, you're going to tear your fingertip open before you actually get to the magnet inside there. I think anyway, but you never know. So that's this hand. If one of them were to shatter, it would just be like this grainy funk inside this silicone pocket. I'd need to worry about it rupturing through. If the neodymium were to get into my body, it would probably kill me. So if something were to happen, I'd probably go to the ER and get one of these removed immediately. If something happened. Nothing's happened so far, so I've been pretty lucky. I don't think anything will really happen after this period of time anyway. It's like the first couple of months when you're developing your pockets after they put them in. And when I get into the procedure, we'll get to this one. So what they did for this hand, the Hayworth magnets, is they took a scalpel and they cut a small slit and they got to the second layer of skin, and then they made another cut right along that cut. So they're cutting the same place twice. And in that second cut, they're getting through and they're actually making the pocket. So they're sticking something in that same little hole that just got cut inside the cut, and they're jamming it in there and they're making your pockets. Then they squeeze the implants in place. These implants are a lot larger than the other ones are. They're the bigger ones. So they really got to pack them in there. They stitch you closed. 1-2 stitches. One should do it. If he's using 2, he's making too big a hole. So, stitch you up, clean you up when you're done. It's bloody, it's bad. It's just bad. It's horrible. So, anyway. Healing time. Healing time is unbelievable. When I get into the self-experiment later on, you'll get a good representation of what it's like to actually have these heal up. It's like having a rock in your shoe, but you can't do a damn thing about it. You just have to step on it or not use it. The pockets do form in your flesh. They'll actually work their way in shattering is very important during this period too, because if you're going to do it, it's going to be there, not while it's like halfway sunk in your fingertip. It's going to be while it's like sitting right on the top. You know, it's under pressure and it wants to get out. So, enough said about that. This hand, my right hand, these are samarium cobalt magnets. They were done by Sampo von Cyborg. I was lucky enough to get him. Awesome guy, love it. So, his procedure is a lot different and a lot less traumatic, which is why I'm giving the hands up on the awesome guy. His procedure was done with a large gauge piercing needle. His magnets are different. They're the cobalt I was talking about earlier, and they're coated in the biopolymer, meaning that my body will actually physically attach to the magnet itself. A lot different than what these are. These are free floating. So the magnet itself is a lot stronger. I probably get about double the strength in this hand than I do this one. That's on the little meter I had. So figure it out. There's a big difference in them. The procedure, you got the double heavy gauge piercing needle stuck at my fingertip, turned it around, made a little pocket, shoved the implant into the hole, used the blunt edge of the piercing needle to get it in place, get it where it wanted it, and then he pinched me close for a couple of minutes, kind of made that pocket for him, and then put a band-aid around my tip and ready to go. There's probably for my whole hand a teaspoon of blood and a spot, but I mean, you're jamming huge needles in your fingertip. You're surprised you don't lose more. So it's not his procedure. Go on, Cyborg. Hayworth, I get it. They are what they are. There's a time and a place for them. Honestly, when people compare the two procedures back and forth, they're going to find something that's going to be a lot easier on them. The magnets are stronger, and there's a better effect with them, just from my experience. And people are going to go with them. That's the way I see it. They're just a superior product. However, with that said, I'm glad I have this hand, and I'm glad this hand is free floating, because these magnets do not do that. I get more directional input from this hand than I do from these. These are more the power feel. These guys kind of tell me what's, you know, wiggling around down there. So with that said, that is what a magnetic implant is. That's where I got them, how I got them, who did them. This Reverend Decay of Harrisburg, and then Sampo von Cyborg of London and Finland. So I did a lot of homework on these people. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time to find them. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. You got to be in the right place at the right time with the right amount of money ready to do this. And if you don't jump on it when you get the chance, you're never going to get it done. I'm going over the Q&A part now. These are all the comments that were left on the previous videos. I kind of consolidated them and got them all together. So here goes. Betsy Perez and Chris Simmons kind of had questions about the strength of the magnets. Chris Simmons, there is actually an app I downloaded for my phone. And I'm going to tell you the exact strength of some of these magnets right now. The thing is with the magnets is each one of them has a different strength. So it's not going to be 100% consistent. You're going to get variations. Usually they're pretty much the same thing, but there are those that are not. So let me see. I got to initialize it. And this is rating in Teslas. So that's what my reading is. So on my left hand, these are the weaker Steve Hayworth magnets. I'm getting, find the sensor, there we go. I'm going up to about, I'd say, I don't know if you can read that on there or not. I'm going to find the sensor, you'll see a jump, There we go. So I'm hovering around like 280 Teslas with the left hand. Now I'm going to go to my right. This one's already out of control. Right hand, I got up to 4 something a second ago. 570 seems to be the height of that one when I nail it dead on. Let's see if I can get up that high again. It gets up to about 550, I'd say. So, safe bet, right hand, 550. Left hand's about half as strong. Another issue I have, which I think is wreaking havoc on my magnets, is I have a metal plate in my arm. That kind of grounds everything and keeps it in line. I'll be going into that a little bit later. Check the update section for that one. So, Betsy, no, the magnets aren't strong enough to hold themselves together. I'm not worried about sticking to them. I do randomly pick stuff up from time to time, like you run your hand across a countertop or you're playing in the sand and you get like little metal objects stuck to you, you just kind of flick them off. And that is the primary reason why I left these 2 fingers on each hand left alone. I didn't want to be pulling stuff off and like doing the, I guess, I don't know what you call that, but that hand off where it just sticks to one hand and the other and you can't like shake it off kind of thing. So, yeah, I left fingers alone for that reason. Didn't need to, but I did. I wouldn't really recommend getting your primary fingers done anyway, it'd be a nuisance. And we'll be getting into that in a minute. So, they don't really stick together. I can feel them stick together, but my strength is, they're not going to stay that way on their own. My body's just going to naturally pull them apart. So, Amy, Betsy, Chris, there's your answer. Gary McCaffrey wanted to know about airport scanners, those backscatter radiation scanners that they do the noon pick with. I'm really interested to see what kind of power those are pumping out. I will never get near one of those things. I just don't trust them. Like X-rays, I can feel the radiation coming off of that. I really wouldn't trust. So, enough said. Let's see. Okay. I had 2 questions. One from Ryan Burke and another one from Ash G. They were both about pressure and pockets. I do feel them inside my fingertips. They are an annoyance. The first month, it's like having a rock in your shoe that you can't get rid of because that pocket in the flesh is forming. In the self-experiment, I go over the pain of actually getting these done. You can experience some of what it's going to feel like healing up. Be prepared for that. The healing time is dramatic. Some people just kind of go through it. Me, I had my whole hand done each time, so it was like drama. Thank God I let these fingers alone. I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of things. I couldn't do a lot of things with these ones done, but getting these done as well would have been a problem. So I don't give yourself leeway. Understand what you're getting into before you do this. So yeah, there's little pockets in there, and they kind of work themselves deeper and deeper and deeper. So the longer you have them, the more protected, because if one of these shatters, you're kind of screwed. You have to go to the doctor to get it out. You can't leave it in your body. You have to get it removed immediately. Do not, I don't care what they tell you, they're safe, whatever. If it breaks, get it out. Enough said. Get it out. So, the one safety warning we've got, Nash64, or NashF64 asked if the procedure was expensive. I spent over $1,000 in Implant, point blank. The magnets themselves are about $200 a pop. If you go into quantity, they give you discounts. If you know the people, like if I was to go back to Sampa and get another 10 of them, I'd definitely be getting some price break on that, I'm sure. So it depends. Get a good guy, they should be about $200 a magnet, at least that's the last I checked, which was 2 years ago. So, food for thought. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there's one from Pontius Anderson, and he is asking, is it possible to feel with just one implant? Yeah, that's what I recommend you do. I kind of balls to the wall when I do stuff. I go all the way. I understood when I got my left hand done that I was probably, if I got one of these, it was probably not going to be enough. And if I ever wanted to get more, the opportunity probably wasn't going to be there. So I had to do it all at once. I saved up a bunch of money. I got it done. I think I spent about $1,400 on this hand alone, and that's not including getting there and aftercare, things like that. It gets expensive. Uh, it's worth it, every penny of it. But I would recommend a layman just get one. Get one, go from there. Make sure you're getting it from a reputable shop. Again, same thing as a tattoo or a piercing. You want to make sure that you know where you're going. You don't want to get this from the guy on the corner or your sister's brother's friend who's doing it out of his garage or, trying to make his way as a piercer. Go to the pros. Sampo von Cyborg was in Finland. He came out of Finland. He studied under surgeons. He's got his own underground movement going on. He's one of the first people to do the skulls, the spikes in the skull. He does ear pointing. His ear pointing is amazing. It's much better than the other guys. The other guys just cut it. He actually sculpts it. So I knew where I was going with Sampa. And you find these people by going to the people who are doing it. So I went into my tattoo shop, and the guys behind the counter, I talked to the piercer, I'm like, talking about magnetic implants, things like, oh, well, nobody's really into those, blah, 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 blah. And I explained to him I had 7 in my left hand, and his eyes got all wide. He's just like, no. So, after a couple more minutes of talking, he's like, yeah, I've got one, and, it's like, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, yeah, let me feel it. So I'm, running my hand over his. It's like, you're just so bumpy, noticing that I've got a few in there, because you can feel them when you've got, I'm running my hand over yours, and you've got a magnet in there. We don't need to make contact to feel each other. So, he told me that his magnet was kind of, it excited his magnet, and it gets it going, which makes sense when you understand the physics involved with them. So, yeah, Pontius, go for it. One works. I would make sure that it's not going to be a one-time thing, because you're probably going to want to get more. If you do it, as a matter of fact, and you want to get more, remember the polarization that I talk about later on, and pay attention to what hand is dominant and what hand is not. Your dominant hand is going to be your positive, your submissive hand is going to be your negative. So if I was left-handed, my left hand would be positive out, pointing that way, and then my right hand would be negative, pointing out. So you do a complete current through your body. That's what you're focusing on. And I think that is it. Oh, pay attention later on in the video about the stacking. That's pertinent too, because it actually amplifies the ability like a microscope. If you take a 10 power microscope lens and a 10 power microscope lens, you now have 100 power. So it works the same way. You're amplifying it every time you go down. So I've got 3, 1, and then 1 all along the same nerve endings, and they all pop off each other, and they amplify the signal. So every time the signal hits from these guys, it goes into this one, and it makes it higher, and it goes down to this one, and it goes in, you get the idea. So, stacking is important, polarization is very important. Okay, so I'm going to be discussing the abilities and the sensations that I get, and I'm also going to be telling you how you can feel these things yourself. You don't need to get drastic and go nuts with it and get your fingers carved up. You can actually feel this with stuff you've probably got around your house. So what you do is you find a refrigerator magnet. You're looking for those little silver ones, the tiny ones, the super strong ones. Neodymium is what they're called, or you can go to the craft store. I recommend you find one about half the size of your fingertip. That would be a good size. If you can't find that, don't worry about it. Small ones will work just the same. But get one it's half. Don't go bigger than your fingertip, but try and cover about half of it. You'll do good with that. Next thing you want to do is once you get your magnet, is you're going to duct tape it to your fingertip. You can use duct tape. Scotch tape will work. Not the best. I recommend using a Band-Aid. If you're going to go as far as using a Band-Aid, you might want to use sports tape or just medical tape, something like that. It'll work all the same. Now, when you do this, you're going to feel what it's like healing up. In about an hour, it's going to be like, I want to get this thing off my finger. And in about 2 hours, you're going to be like, I'm getting this thing off my finger. It doesn't last long. But when you're healing up, that pain doesn't go away. It sticks around and it stays for about 2 weeks. So you're constantly warming this pocket in your flesh. And you're doing that by pressing something into it. Bottom line, when you first get done, your pockets are very tight. Everything just rages inside your fingertip. It's like being crucified. It's horrible. It's something literally pressing, blunt, pressing into your skin constantly. It does not let up at night. It goes for days at a time. There is nothing you can do about it. It goes away eventually. But while it's happening, you're wishing it would go away now. It's not a pretty picture at all. If you don't do multiples if you don't want that to happen. It's just going to be too much for you. If you think you can handle it, go for it. Get as many as you think you can possibly handle. Get them everywhere. Remember the polarization. Remember getting them in stacks. Go along nerve endings. Follow your body's natural polarity. You'll do well. But yeah, one in your fingertip isn't going to be too dramatic. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to feel great. You're going to go through the same stuff. It's going to be pressing and like, this sucks, but one finger is a lot different than having a whole hand of it. So you get my point. One knee, anybody can do it. 20, whoa, you got my respect. Enough said. So that's what the self-experiment is. You just duct tape one of these to your fingertips. Now what you do is you go around and you start feeling stuff. You just drag your hand across the fridge, see what that feels like, play with other magnets. AC adapters, those little black boxes on your wall, those feel kind of sparkly and cool. You can do the microwave, that's a neat one. Rev it on high for like 15-20 seconds. Just feel around the outside of your microwave where you can. You'll feel the magnetic wave. It's like a wave. It's a fan blowing through your fingertips, but there's no air movement. It's something else. You can pick up your vacuum cord. That's going to have a good current going through it when you turn it on. You plug it in. So crank that sucker up and just play with the motor. You can feel the motor in there, things like that. Be careful going outside, stay away from power lines, things like that. Use common sense. Don't do stupid things. Think about it. Play with picking stuff up like paper clips, staples, things like that. What else can you do? Keys. That's another fun one. Just play around. Find stuff. Let me know stuff. Yeah. I'm always finding new interesting things. I love the stuff that you find in bizarre places, like a pile of river rocks. I never thought that would be magnetic, but yet I've got one sticking to my bulletin board at home with no glue. It's doing it magnetically. Whatever. It is what it is. And sometimes you just gotta accept it. And so that's the philosophy behind the video. So the implants are a new step. People seem to be concerned, oh, is this where human evolution is going? Is this where, what are I see there's implications and things like that, but this is what I mean by it. There's several different outcomes that can come out of this. The guy's getting it done in his ears. It's completely different than what you're getting in your hands. We're using them in multiple places of the body now to enhance the senses. We've also got equipment that we can strap on with these implants in our bodies that allows us to see in the dark. I can echolocate without using sound. I use touch. Project Bottle knows at Grindhouse Webworks, that's what they're working on. I'm sure there's many, many more right now. We're going to start seeing stuff. It's possible with the wireless charging, if you get the right battery and the right charger. I think they were messing up the frequency of the antenna required on the battery to charge wirelessly. I think that they need to do just that, and if they do that, they'll be successful in actually making a self-powered implant. It would be about lithium-ion battery under the skin. It would last about 5 years before you'd have to have it removed. The batteries do have a shelf life, so it needs work there. But if you attach a magnetic switch and probably a small LED light, pump that full of pressure molded silicone, you could turn it on and off by the magnetic switch with the implant, and then you'd be charging it by placing the charger on your skin, and it would charge through via RF frequency, and that's where they messed up. I think they got the RF frequency of the charger and the battery wrong when they failed with the previous experiments and the melting down batteries. So I think that's where their area of focus needs to be. My humble opinion. So that's it. I think it's going to open up a whole new. We're going to be implanting chips left and right now. When this really catches on, we'll be ripping our bodies apart. We're doing it now with plastic surgery. It's all for vanity, but this is more of for exploration, for curiosity, for I did it so I would know. Because I made myself a promise way back in the 4th grade that if it was possible to do this, it's just putting 2 and 2 together. It's a 4th grader sitting there thinking, well, if magnets control electricity, their body runs on electricity. It was very weak, electrical fields, Forrest. They're telling me, well, you don't need a magnet to influence that then. So, yeah, I really had it thought out, and a lot of the sensations I thought I would be getting, I'm getting. I got the magnets originally because I was a photovoltaic technician. I was putting up solar panels, I was working with electricity on a daily basis, so it's like, you can feel the electrical current going through stuff, and it's handy, you don't grab live wires. And even if you did grab a live wire, you can handle that, because I've taken 600,000 volts at once, and it's just like, whatever. I store it up like a capacitor. My body actually held it within my ribs for about 2 weeks. So I had all that energy just bouncing around inside me. It was nuts. So things like stun guns, not a problem. Cattle prod, I don't think I'd have much issue with that. Again, it's the amperage that goes with it too. So I wouldn't go grabbing power lines or anything like that. Sometimes when I'm walking, you'll walk by a building or something like that, and they usually put this power room where they route all the power to the building in one corner. You can usually pick that corner out, or find where the utility closet is, at least. It's a buzz. It's the same thing you're feeling with the microwave and with the vacuum cleaner in the experiment that I give you. You can feel motors going. I fixed the dryer. I turned on the dryer. It wasn't heating up, so I followed it down. I'm like, okay, well, electricity, 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 next component, electricity. Oh, there it is. Replace that part, sure enough. It was dead on. It's hilarious. I've checked car batteries and trucks. I could tell if they're getting juice or not. We thought the car had a dead battery. Didn't. I was right. What else? Pond pumps, aquarium pumps, and things like that. I had a range of 6 inches before in the last video. That's extended. I can probably feel something from about 2-3 feet away now with this hand. You get used to it after time. The feeling isn't as noticeable. It becomes part of your everyday world. You start using your abilities without thinking about it. It's like if you were telekinetic, you just reach out subconsciously, want a glass of water, and it would fly across the room into your hand. It's stuff like that. It's like, the Christmas lights. There you go. That one's a problem right there. You can point stuff out. You can't describe how you're doing it. You just know what's going on. You switch the lights. Sure enough, that was it. It's a different world. It really is. And it's actually augmenting the human brain. We have 5 sensory inputs. And Cara Platoni goes over this in her book, Real. It's set to be published in late 2015, I'll put it that way. So keep an eye out for that one at the end of the year or the beginning of 2016. So, anywho, I digress. Cara Platoni's book, Real, 2015. So we can get these new senses artificially. It was theorized by me back in 4th grade that you could do this. If a 4th grader can come up with this, I'm sure the scientific community's got all kinds of crap already. But this is what's public. And this is what's available to us right now. I think this is going to take off in the future, and I think that this is the start of a new phase of evolution for human beings. When I say that, the reason I say that is, again, Cara's book. She talks to some neurologists, and she's talking about how we have 5 sensory inputs for our brain, just 1 for each sense. Okay, we got hearing, we got sight, we got smell, we got taste, and we got touch. Well, what happens when you get a 6th? You have 5 sensory inputs, your brain grows another one. A lot of people experience synesthesia. It's another thing she covers in her book, where we get 2 senses blended together like sound and touch. With the guy who put him in his ears, I think I think it would give him like a sense of hearing with it, like ultrasonic. You get amplified sound waves. Things like that. He's got a little necklace that he made, or thing that he rigged up so he can listen to music. I'd be able to feel that too. If he was wearing that and it was on, I would be able to feel it in my hand. And so I can just imagine what it would be like in your ear. It would be awesome. He's got HD hearing for sure. The movies sound incredible to him. The Star Wars, George Lucas, THX, that's waking up to his alarm clock in the morning. So, there are, these things don't go away. It doesn't shut off. You don't ignore it. It's there 24/7. It takes a special kind of person to deal with it. Some people aren't going to be too successful for it, and they're going to snap because your mind just can't handle it. It just doesn't go away. It's always there again, and part of it becomes part of your daily routine, and it becomes normal for you. But then there's always new things. I don't think we're ever going to discover everything that we're capable of doing. But this is definitely something that we need to look at as the evolution of humanity, because we are changing our lives. We have 5 sensory inputs. We're artificially giving ourselves a 6th. How many millions of years of evolution did it take to get our 5 senses? And now in 20 minutes, we're coming along and we're popping these things in our fingertips and we're getting the sixth. We're doing it. Our procedure for this hand, I'm sure. I had 5 of them put in. So 20 minutes of magnet. In 20 minutes time, you can supersede millions of years of evolution.